Hello folks, John from Gaming in the Wild here, and I have a pretty interesting game preview for you today. It's about the Expanse Osiris Reborn, an in-development game that was announced at last summer's Future Games Expo, and it looks kind of amazing actually. We've had a few trailers for it now, most of them are cinematic and CG, but some show walkthroughs of incredible looking environments, including spaceship interiors, a commercial area, a verdant arboretum, various settlements, and some spacewalking too. It looks tempting, compelling, and juicy, and really makes me want to dive in and explore. The game is still deep in development, but the developers have been doing interviews and putting out videos, so there is some information out there, and in this video I'm going to pull it all together. So if you, like me, are captivated by the trailer and you're hungry for more atmospheric, sweeping sci-fi in your gaming diet, then this really is a game to be excited about. As always, your likes on the video are appreciated. You can sub to the channel for more from me in your feed, and then if you like what you see here, please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. I have free game codes for new patrons for hand-picked indie games that I think you should play, and you also get extras, behind-the-scenes stuff, and access to our thriving Discord community, which is right now running a Steam Next Fest event where we tell each other about all the great demos we're finding. People vote on demos and add marks, and I will make a video of the results in the end, so you can contribute to that right now if you join the Patreon. Link on the screen now. The $1 tier gets you Discord access, the $3 tier gets you a free indie game, and thanks very much if that's something you would consider. And with that, let's get on with the video. Now, I'm an on-the-record spacefaring adventure video game liker. Titles like Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Outlaws, and Starfield all hit my Games of the Year list in recent years. And while not everyone loved those games like I did, I had a great time with all of them. I thought Outlaws is underrated for its interlocking gameplay systems and clever rework of Ubisoft's leveling and skill tree system. I thought Jedi Survivor's tentative step into open-world areas was like a dream come true for Star Wars fans and sci-fi ARPG fans alike. And Starfield, I don't know what to tell you, it just really hit for me, warts and all. So I'm always on the lookout for sci-fi RPGs and sci-fi adventure games that combine space travel with a rich scenario, with future speculative tech and deep storytelling, and meaningful choices that really take the player into their stellar game worlds. And I have to say, the Expanse Osiris Reborn has me very excited. It's a spectacular looking stellar RPG where we play as a mercenary trapped in the Eros space station during a lockdown. As the story progresses, we will get to take control of a ship, assemble a crew, and explore the solar system, which sounds very exciting to me. The game will have combat, which I'll talk about more in a bit, but it's also aiming for a plausible feeling space experience that is based both on current day existing tech and speculations about what that might look like in the future. The scenario of the game is based on the storied Expanse series, and there is a lot of Expanse out there. There are 9 books, there are 6 seasons of TV, and a Telltale game that came out in 2023, and Osiris Reborn will use voice actors from the TV show, so fans can expect some cameos and crossover from the main story. And I'm no expert in the Expanse, but I did really enjoy the first 3 seasons of the show before it went off the rails a bit with Amazon, so I've got a little bit of a grounding in the series, and I really enjoy the scenario that is on offer. It's a story set in a far future when humanity has colonized our solar system. Earth is now polluted and overpopulated, the wealthy have moved out to Mars, which is a seat of political power, and the moons of the farther planets in our solar system are home to the Belters, a rough and ready working class society involved in heavy labor like mining, hauling, construction, and so forth. A lot of Belters were born off-world and so have thin, fragile physiques as their bodies have never experienced planetary gravity, and I find the whole thing to be a really compelling scenario. I love that the Expanse takes current-day social issues of inequality, exploitation, and class, and imagines what that might look like in a spacefaring age, and I think this social consciousness adds some gravitas and stakes to the very gritty, textural depiction of our spacefaring future. All of this is what drew Owlcat Games to work on an Expanse game in the first place. Owlcat's creative director, Alexander Michelin, has said in an IGN interview, quote, "We've been dreaming about building a sci-fi action RPG of this scale for a very long time, and the Expanse is the perfect universe to bring that vision to life. It's a world grounded in realism and complexity, perfect for telling a story how we like, mature, character-driven, and with choices that truly matter. We are excited to bring this new experience to players and look forward to sharing more soon, especially especially knowing how many questions our fans will have, end quote. That hits all the right notes for me. Realism, complexity, mature, character-driven, and choices matter is exactly what I want from my sci-fi games. And in case you don't know who Owlcat Games are, they are a Moscow-born, Cyprus-based studio who made two well-regarded Pathfinder isometric RPGs and the Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. All of these games hover around 80 on Metacritic, but Rogue Trader was a Game of the Year contender for some RPG specialist critics, so Owlcat do have some established RPG chops for sure. And this game is a huge leap up in terms of scope and fidelity for Owlcat. It switches that isometric RPG viewpoint for an over-the-shoulder third-person perspective. That does a huge amount for the look and the vibe of the game, and I think it greatly broadens the potential audience as well, because it looks like a contemporary AAA game rather than that slightly old-fashioned isometric RPG that they've made before. And how Owlcat deal with that transition from top-down to third-person will be a big part of how Osiris Reborn fares for sure. And as I said in the title of this video, the developers have said that this game is heavily inspired by Mass Effect, the classic beloved series that has been on hiatus since Andromeda, which released way back in 2017. There was a remastered collection, of course, in 2021, which made the game look better on current-gen hardware, but didn't meaningfully update it in terms of quality of life or modern standards and that kind of thing, so it still felt a little rusty. So I love that someone is stepping up to carry the Mass Effect torch forward into the present day with a grand, sweeping sci-fi RPG, with that rich Expanse scenario, with a deep story, with proper companions in the shape of the crew that you will take on, and with choices that really matter and shape how your story unfolds. The game design producer, Yulia Chernenko, has shared some details with the media about this Mass Effect influence. She has said that Mass Effect, quote, was iconic for the Xbox 360 generation of gamers. Many of us first played it in our teenage years and it left a lasting impression. We are building on that legacy and expanding what players anticipate from this experience. She goes on to say that the story is deeply rooted in hard science fiction, one of the core reasons the Expanse universe resonates with its fans. She says the narrative emphasizes political tension and moral complexity, and that the game will have romance as well, end quote. Yulia also shared that players will get to create their own ship captain in a character creator, that they will have a twin that looks a lot like them, that they can choose to play as an Earther, Martian or Belter, and that you will lead a crew who all have their own pasts and motivations. And I think that's what Mass Effect fans want to hear if they're looking for this game to pick up that torch and carry it forward. Something else that really sprang out to me is that Owlcat consulted with former NASA astronaut and ISS commander Leroy Chow to try and create a grounded space experience, pun fully intended. In an interview on the Owlcat YouTube channel, Leroy describes how there is no sound in space, and so game actions will be communicated to the player with visual and haptic means. He talked about the tension of spacewalking and how astronauts have to be tethered on so they don't float away, and that has been represented here in a sci-fi way with magnetic boots. And he talks about more mundane space stuff too, like the importance of tasty food to make the astronauts have some sensations, which are so important out there in the void. The hope from Owlcat is that these details will give the game more texture than the usual somewhat floaty and effortless experience of space that RPG games have. They do stress that it's not a simulation or a survival game by any means, but that it aims to make space feel more present in the game, and I really respect that as a core element of the game's development. There are also some big aspects of the game that we haven't seen much of yet beyond glimpses and trailers and video clips and so forth. I haven't spotted any space travel gameplay as yet, which makes me think that maybe you're not going to be controlling a ship in this game, but they could reveal that still at a later date. I really hope that space travel is an active part of the game and not just cutscenes, because it is so central to that space travel fantasy. And we saw what players think of just cutscene space travel and menu-based space travel in the response to Starfield. I think both Jedi and Star Wars Outlaws did it better, as you could at least sort of punch it to jump into lightspeed and that kind of thing, and you could walk around the ship during space travel. And the combat in this game is another big question mark, although we have had a little bit of information about that. Both Yulia and the gameplay design director Leonid have shared a bit of info on that front. Yulia says that the combat reflects the standards of modern action gameplay, which is good to hear, but it is going to use a cover-based shooting system, which is a little bit of an alarm bell for me, honestly, because I think while there is a lot to learn from Mass Effect as an RPG, the action is not its strong point. I feel like cover shooters have had their time really, and that clunky style with a lot of waiting involved has become a little outdated, and I do wonder if more contemporary sources of inspiration could have been sought for the combat to make it feel more fresh and up to date. So I'm just hoping that the combat doesn't tank the experience if there is a lot of it. It has also been shared, however, that it will have a tactical feel, including squad coordination, so you can bring 2 members of your team into combat with you while others provide remote assistance. And both sets of NPCs will help you out via combat opportunities, which means that your crew members can use the environment or carry out actions, presumably on a cooldown, in certain combat contexts. So that sounds pretty interesting at least. But even with those big question marks about space travel and combat, what we've seen of this game so far looks incredibly promising. I just love the look of the world, I love the vibe that it has, and I feel pretty optimistic about this game overall. There is no release date for it yet, but Owlcat says that the Expanse Osiris Reborn is coming soon to PC, Xbox Series and PlayStation 5. I will be watching with great curiosity for further gameplay reveals and glimpses into what we can expect from this really exciting title. It wouldn't surprise me if we see early access this year and a release in 2027, so let's wait and see. That's the Expanse Osiris Reborn. So there we go, that's our video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, then please give it a like. And I do actually have a few more science fiction RPGs that I have my eye on that are coming out this year or next year, including Exodus and Starbites, both of which look very different but very intriguing. So let me know in the comments if you did enjoy this video, and I will think about making videos about those games for you as well. And if, having watched this video, you would like to hear me talk in more detail about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Outlaws and Starfield, there is a whole podcast that I make. It's been running for 5 years, and there are audio episodes that go into real depth about those games. I will put links in the description for you to listen to those episodes if you would like to. And finally, don't forget about the Patreon. I do have those codes for you. If you would like a PlayStation code for 1000 times Resist, or a Steam code for Phantom Spark, Signs of the Sojourner, or Many Nights a Whisper, join up at the $3 tier or above, and I will personally get in touch with you to say thank you and give you your code. There is a link on the screen now for that, and as always, special thanks to my top tier, boss tier patrons ShyGuy, KingChamp, SusannaMaria, Nate, Drellesh, Rhyistic Studies, and new upgraded boss tier patron Essywoods. Thank you, Essywoods, and welcome back into the fold. Boss tier patrons are my top tier supporters, and they support me the most, and so they get a thank you on every single video and podcast that I would make. Join at the boss tier if you would like to join that list. And with that, take care of yourselves and each other, and bye bye for now.